Honorable Chairman, eminent professors and scientists, ladies and gentlemen. As we begin this 14th ICOS meeting here in Houston, I would like to express my appreciation to each of you for your commitment to and support for this conference and its theme, absolute values, and a new cultural revolution. Since I was unable to be with you at last year's ICOS in Washington, I am particularly moved to stand before you this morning. As you know, I was recently released from prison in August 20, 1985. Having spent 13 months in confinement in the United States, I thank you again for being concerned with my situation caused by unfair treatment, for visiting me in prison, for writing letters to comfort me, and for your tremendous effort in making pleas to the authorities on my behalf. Those who were so eager to fabricate crime and have me imprisoned invested a great deal of money and effort in the attempt to look the work which God has called me to perform. However, despite opposition, the unification movement prospers worldwide, contrary to the expectation that my imprisonment would bring the break of the work of our church. We have received unprecedented expressions of understanding and support from all kinds of people, including Christian clergy. Through such an experience, I have learned once again, as I always maintained, that victory comes through persecution countered with God-centered righteousness. My experience in prison has made clear to me the critically dangerous state of the world. It let me feel the urgent necessity of the worldwide great awakening and of new breakthrough. As a result, I have come out of prison with a renewed sense of urgency and the determination to commit myself and the unification movement to the cause of world peace and global prosperity at any cost. Today's world shows us various miserable situations in spite of wonderful scientific development, efficient technology, and economic abundance in many places. There is constant strain and war among nations, and most of the world such problems as poverty, illiteracy, disease, violence, and crime, drug addiction, and mental disorders, social discrimination, and inequity break families, and teenager immorality make a future of this planet appear gloomy. Why do anxiety and agony increasing day by day, even though many scholars, especially consensus distinguished scholars, have been devoting themselves toward realizing a happy, ideal world? The reason must be mental exhaustion and a moral spiritual crisis. Traditional value systems are now inadequate for societies which are changing with unprecedented speed. Ethics and morals have ceased to fully function. Criteria for goodness have been disappearing. At a time when these problems are causing self-contradiction, conflict, and disunity both in ideal lives and on the social level, how can we speak a moral standard or of eternity? If in such a reality there is no God, then we cannot at all expect complete ideals or happiness ever to be realized. We would conclude that the world cannot but perish. But if there is God, the absolute, then we can conclude that God will conduct providence for changing this negative state of reality to the absolutely positive one by jumping toward one standard. That is the standard of absolute value. God is our parent with only true love for all mankind. The purpose of any negative effects of God's providence in the past was never to destroy humankind. Such effects were only part of a process for the dramatic life ahead. The undesirable effects were to be followed by new and hopeful things to come. Throughout history, there have been numerous moments of leaping forward. There have been many instances of people conducting God, the transcendent through a moment of complete negation of the present reality, and then leaping towards a better future. Ordinary moments are not likely to be ground for leaping. Pioneers, through positively digesting the paradoxical moments, have been able to live and create wonderful things. Loving your enemy as practiced by Jesus on the cross may not be easily understood, but Jesus saw God's providence for urgently changing a moment of being completely denied by the world in one of a leap of complete positivity. As a result of that leap, a new page of the resurrection providence was opened. I think the Unification Church holds the world record in the history of persecution. However, such persecution has not always been bad. For the Unification Church, if the Unification Church is not overwhelmed by suffering, but overcomes it and lives God's will through leaping with a momentum, the suffering itself will become a preparation for our eternal life, centered on the absolute. With such a view, we should recognize that the reality of today's world is not cause for despair, but provides momentum for God to permit us a leap toward a new world. The initial motive for humans to develop science was the desire to realize world peace and prosperity. However, the method employed in the specialized field of science has not resulted in meeting that original expectation. Our expectation of science was centered on the well-being of humankind, but instead science has mostly been concerned with developing the material environment, which is the object of human beings who are subject The true happiness of humankind has not been realized by the scientific pursuit of higher living standards or by applying theories of political economic equality. We conclude, therefore, that scientists should be awakened to assume a new mission. Today's man is urged to establish, through insight into the depths of being, a new standard of ethics centered on the absolute order of reality. The new ethics requires us to love nature, to reconsider the dignity of human beings, to seek love among all mankind, and to search for God as the origin of love. Scholars are to assume a mission for accomplishing the cultural, spiritual revolution for the realization of such ideas as human perfection and world peace. Along with the external technological revolution, long before the first IQOS, I became certain that scientists should play a decisive role in building a new, good, hopeful future society. My support and enthusiasm for IQOS for the past 14 years has come from my respect and my expectation for scholars' potential to solve the problems of the world. I hope that such a potential can be developed and mobilized through IQOS, and that scholars with responsibility will actively contribute to the realization of a new cultural revolution. This is 14th IQOS. The number 14 is twice number 7. According to unification theology, the number 7, like the number 3, is an important number signifying perfection. Up until now, IQOS has been committing itself to relating scientific studies with the discovery and the realization of absolute values. In addition, it has been concerned with the integration of knowledge, that is, with an interdisciplinary and integrated approach to the understanding of reality. The criterion for absolute value comes from God as the origin of absolute value, absolute love. Without establishing absolute values, an integrated approach is not possible. Many people have now come to realize the necessity of absolute values. I am grateful that the chairman and the members of the planning committee have overcome misunderstandings and worked on this new path as pioneers. From now on, where is IQOS supposed to head? Could it be satisfied with annual conferences, just as before? My answer to this question centered on my recent emphasis on the new cultural revolution. I think that the potential and the foundation for realizing the original ideals and the happiness of humankind is greatly endangered. Since mankind is now challenged most seriously and essentially by evil, we as the IQOS family should stand up and actively assume the great mission for creating the world of new culture, which must be established at any cost, exploration of absolute values cannot be meaningful for its own sake. Truth has eternal direction, and the ideal world centered on absolute values must be concretely realized. This realization requires that we act determinedly and leave behind the difficulties found in the present reality. Today the world should change. Now is the time the scholars to responsibly come to the forefront, advancing toward a new cultural revolution centered on God's truth and law. The new cultural revolution should pursue God's ideal for humanity and all creation. In order for this ideal to be accomplished, each of us should fulfill our responsibility in realizing true law, not only knowledge as absolute value. Humankind should now leap forward, creation of the culture of a new dimension through which we can completely overcome the limits of finite reality. Is it demanded we should wake up from the illusion and laxity of any arrogant belief that the power of human reason alone can bring about the perfection of our individuals and the world without related to God's expectation for the original human character and without related to God's providence behind the turmoil of human history. Humbly recognizing the limits of human beings, we should fulfill the ideal union with God through leaping forward, not missing the historical momentum introduced by God's providence. Since God's ideal for the creation was fallen, meant for mankind to be human beings, it is a natural conclusion that the ideal should be fulfilled through human response to God's comprehensive concern. Respected scholars, I have come committing my whole life to fulfill God's will. That is, to fulfill human responsibility. I never try to avoid even the most rugged path of the pioneer. For instance, I determined to offer an alternative to the exciting attitudes of news media. I have closely watched the process of new media's offering information, right and wrong, to the public. I know through my experience, as many of you do, that the power of the news media, if misused, can destroy reality and undermine the foundation of goodness. Therefore, for years, we have been sponsoring a course, the Washington Times. Recently, I inspired a weekly news magazine called Insight. Further, in this coming month, we are going to release the monthly magazine called You and I. These products aim to offer alternative media for education and mass communication that will contribute to such values of truth and the common good. I ask you to, pioneers, in a new cultural revolution through participating in the continuous pursuit of truth by actively contributing articles to You and I magazine. Furthermore, I envision the publication of dictionaries for the different specialized fields of science, with the help of a worldwide PWPA membership and proven house publisher. All this will come part of preparation for publishing an encyclopedia of human events, which will, under the guidance of absolute values, contribute to right insight into the original human character and become proper material for education. Respected scholars, remaining indifferent to the exciting world of paradoxes, posing no alternatives, could we say that we have fulfilled our leadership and the social responsibility? We must show the standard through not missing this precious momentum which has come not merely by chance, which such God has granted us historically and globally. We should be exemplary ourselves by leaping ahead and firmly awaken all people who fight against injustice. Leaping involves risk, adventure. Fully dimensioned adventure on the false foundation would bring greater difficulties. However, wherever there is a truth, there is always bound to be its practice. We must be champions for the practice of absolute values and actively lead the world. I hope that this conference will not only become a forum for free discussions in which useful conclusions are reached, but that it will also become a historical event through which we, with all our determination, can push this suffering world to give birth to the world of a new culture. I deeply thank the members of the preparation committee for their very hard work for this conference. May God bless all of you and your family. Thank you very much. 사생결단 전로부터 실천 무해되기를 비나이다.